Booyah.
Sean Brady Joe Pyfer.
Let's go. I don't know if y'all believe in the law of attraction, but we have talked so much BKFC in the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And this is how it works, because I can't tell you how this man got here today. I can't tell you why we're here today, and we didn't work for this.
Yep.
We didn't ask for this. This came to us. And sometimes that's how life works. But today we have the founder, CEO, I don't know, all the OOO.
The
Presidente of BKFC. I am excited because I'm not lying. We talk so much BKFC, and that's how it works. The law of attraction works. Your thoughts become things. I know the secret. I read the book. Dave Feldman.
Dave Feldman. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
That was a terrible introduction, so I'm sorry. He was rocking the whole fucking table. But
All right, give me an intro, Pyfer.
There you go.
all right, look, we're here with my former promoter, David Feldman, the president of BKFC, the man that saw a dream come to reality. Dude, that's already better than
There you
itself.
go.
Now I'll give mine. My former first promoter for my first amateur fight and third amateur fight, Dave motherfucking Feldman.
Yo,
ladies and gentlemen.
Use them all,
XFE.
Dave. Use them all, Dave.
XFE fucking alumni right here.
There you go.
Did you ever fight for XFE?
No, my first fight was XCC, and then I went with Dave.
Gotcha.
Art of War.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
at the time, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
fought like, what, 7, 8 fights, something like that.
Yeah, man.
you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Smashing people.
my first show was at Chester for XFE. It was there was 2 shows that day. There was the morning show, and then there was the night show. Jonathan was on the night show. So
And you were on the morning?
yeah, and I got slammed. Dude slammed, like took me down, slammed me. I reversed him from side control, and I finished him with a rear naked choke. But yeah, that was my first fight for Dave. Yep, XFE.
Here you getting slammed
That-
is crazy.
bro. And then I fought Alan Aldo, my third fight for
Yep.
XFE. Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
he was actually supposed to fight on this card.
Yeah.
I wanted to fight on this card.
yeah, he had some pretty shitty health shit going on right now.
Yeah.
So,
Is that
but-
you?
damn, whose phone's ringing? Is that Dave's
Oh,
phone?
I'm a piece of shit.
It's yours?
Yeah. And this is what happens, bro. Hey, listen, in all fairness, it was the wifey. You can't be upset, but
Just talking
turn it
about that.
off now.
Do any of those guys resurface now? Like some of the guys that you saw back in the day?
Some of them do. I mean, we've been trying to get into Philly for so long, so I really blew it up everywhere else in the country and all around the world, and didn't have a chance to blow it up here where I was really built in XFE. So I didn't get a lot of those guys on, but this show came to town, and I had all the alumni came out and wanted to fight on the show.
I saw you said you got denied 9 times for Philadelphia, or this is the 9th right here.
Well, it would have been the 9th. So
And it was-
I got turned down 8 times from the state of Pennsylvania, which is my home state.
I don't
It
know.
makes no sense.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it Greg Serb? I don't know
Greg
him like
Serb.
y'all know him.
he's not
Yeah.
in no more. But
I know.
yeah.
I met him one time, and it was on some Chihuahua shit, and
Did-
I didn't know who he was. I
Did
was
you
like,
did you have a hat on?
I don't know what I did, but he just-
would've
he
made you
started
take it off.
barking
Take off
at me, and I was
that
like, "Yo, who the
Yeah,
fuck
take
is
off,
dude?"
Take off your fucking hat.
And it was like, "Yo, that's
Where are you
the-
from? Tennessee? No, no, I'm from Kentucky. Same fucking thing. Take off that.
Yeah, he's tough to
A
deal
pit
with.
bull, right?
And that's kind of why the UFC doesn't come back as much as they could, because he makes it hard.
Very unfortunate.
Did you really invite him out?
Instead,
Well, it's so funny. He's actually working as the scorekeeper for this.
No
It's
way.
crazy,
Greg?
man. He's going to eat shit, bro. It's going to be unbelievable. I mean, we're literally are breaking. We will have the highest attendance in modern Philadelphia combat sports history.
Which is
Saturday
crazy.
night.
So think of tell you could have came in, you could have went to the arena, did something like small, but you fucking went for the Wells Fargo. Like
Yeah, man.
what was your thoughts? Just like
It's just
let's just make it
like,
as big as possible.
Everything we do is we got to go big or go home, because we are the little engine that could that everybody thinks is a piece of shit out there, and we got to show them that we're not.
Yeah.
So we just got to go big or go home,
Yeah.
and we went big, man. It had to be the biggest one. No one on my team, everyone on my team said, let's at least start the Leocora Center. Let's not go to Wells Fargo. And I said, no, we got to go there, and we're going to sell it out, and we're going to beat everybody's attendance. And they're like, you're crazy, man.
And this is going
Here we
to
are.
be your biggest event to date for attendance.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
for BKFC history.
We did almost 16,000 at Sturgis, but this will be almost 18,000.
Sturgis is where I keep hearing this, but I'm sorry, I didn't look
South
at it.
Dakota.
Okay, that was South Dakota.
It's,
Okay,
it's a big bike rally.
Yeah.
I'm a trucker, but
So
yeah,
I'm
never
gonna
heard of
take.
it.
I'm gonna take me personally, just because of fighting for you, and obviously both of us fighting for you. I'm gonna go down memory lane. When did this become an idea, and how did you first get it started? Because I know we kind of lost contact because you were doing your thing, I was fighting, all that stuff. But when did you? And I think the last I remember of it was me and Sam Orpizza doing the commercial,
the video.
And
What is
then
bare knuckle?
What happened from that point on? Like, how did you get to your first show?
We really started. The idea came in 2009, and then I did a show at an Indian reservation, Indian casino in Arizona in 2011, and we did like 5,500 people in attendance, one bare knuckle fight only, amateur MMA on the undercard. But we streamed it on this company called Ustream, and we did like 770,000 streams that people were logging in to buy it for $4.99, and the site crashed. So we didn't get paid, but I was like, oh man, this is unbelievable. Everybody wants to see this thing. Let's go make it happen. So then I went around state to state to state, and they all turned me down. 36 states turned me down, and I think I got turned down like almost 60 times total. I got turned down, but about the time that I was promoting with you guys, I was just still doing underground fights. Like we did the fights at 2300 Arena. My first bare knuckle fight ever was next door to Foreman Mills. It's an old warehouse. 6 people, one bare knuckle fight that we filmed, and we showed it to Men's Journal, and then we showed it to Rolling Stone magazine, and then they were all interested in it. And I finally got my break in 2017. I met the combative sports commissioner out of Wyoming. His name's Brian Pedersen. He's actually like a real money guy, but he just does that for fun. And he's like, oh, I love it. Let's make it happen. So we brought it to the governor's office. They turned it down. And I was like, ah. And that was my only shot. And then two weeks later, the governor approved it. June 2nd, 2018, the first legally sanctioned and regulated bare knuckle fight ever in the history of the world. Because back in the day when they did bare knuckle, it wasn't legal, it wasn't regulated. First one ever. And then from that point on, we just kept going, pedal to the metal.
And that was Wyoming? That was the first state you guys were in?
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yo, mommy, who were the guys in the warehouse? Who were the guys?
It was just, they weren't fighters. They were just guys that helped set up the ring. They were, I mean, it was an unbelievable fight though. And I kept hearing this like, bang, bang. And I was like, wow, that sound is so unbelievable for combat sports. I was like, this is really going to be something. And then, it was anything good in life. It's hard, right? Mm-hmm. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. Right. So it's been hard journey.
Now have you been thinking about this since XFE? Like, were you like way before that? So how many shows did you have with XFE? And then when were you finally just like, all right, like I really want to start going with bare knuckle?
I think I did about 72 shows with MMA, and then I did a little over 100 shows professional boxing. But I was doing all this work all over the place, and you're making 10,000 here, making 15,000 here, which is good, but it was never going to be like a game changer. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be a game changer. What is going to change the game here? Where can I really catapult and do something else? I got to create my own lane.
Yeah.
And create my own lane was bare knuckle fighting, and it's caught on pretty good.
Yeah.
Are you guys at the top of that? Like, I don't know who your competitors are, but if it's
there's no competitors.
There are no competitors, right?
No competitors. I mean, the good thing is, excuse me, June 2nd, 2018, we were number 1. Today, 6.5 years later, there's about almost 150 bare knuckle promotions around the world. Mm. So the sport is really starting to take off all over the world, but no one's in competition.
You gotta go get them underground Russian dudes we were fighting.
Yeah, I think that's gonna kind of.
I actually had one of those that was my main event last week.
No
in California.
way.
Yeah.
One of them dudes from over off that YouTube promotion.
Yep.
Oh, them dudes are. Savage,
he could fight.
What were you about to say?
Street beefs.
What's it called?
I was going to say, I think it's crazy that there's 150 other promotions that are trying to do it, but I feel like this is going to be the one that sticks. Obviously, it's the original. It's the one that actually got momentum, and then obviously, getting the backing of the people coming behind it, and then just having the competitors that you're having. Like, you got some big names. Like, obviously, we said Luke Rockhold, there's Mike Perry, you got Eddie this weekend, which this card is going to be nuts, and even me going to my first one, I'm pretty excited for it. I've been wanting to see it for a while, but I'm glad I get to the first one I get to see is going to be in Philly, and for Eddie's possible send off
in Philly. Like, but when you think about like BKFC, like I don't think about anything else besides that fucking your logo on your shirt. Like that's it. Like people think about MMA, they think about the UFC.
Yep.
People think about bare knuckle boxing, they think about BKFC. There's no other league that you know what I'm saying? And that's where, like you said, you did MMA, you did boxing, there's all these other promotions. You made your own lane with BKFC, and it's awesome to see. And I'm like he said, my first event, and I'm waking up every day, like one day closer. Like I'm excited.
I got one day left of work.
When you were saying, like I've watched it and just hearing those shots and like how much you have to watch where you throw because you throw your punch, you hit someone's hip, like your hand's broke.
Yep.
So people think that it's just like this fucking chaos of like a human cockfight, but you have to be smart with where you punch. So like,
it's
can
actually
you talk
the
about that a
crazy
little
thing
bit?
about it is, Sean and Joe, is we have less injuries than boxing or MMA. So we actually have less handbrakes too. We have less facial fractures, less head trauma.
Yeah.
We only have more cuts.
Yeah.
And let's
Cuts
face
heal
it, people
fast.
like blood.
Yeah.
They want to see blood. As long as people aren't getting seriously injured and they're not here. We actually have about 20% the concussiveness rate of boxing or MMA.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's funny that you say that is because I just read something. It was a stupid fucking meme on the Scroll of Doom on Instagram. And I was a loser scrolling. And then one of these things popped up and it said that there's more concussions because of 16-ounce gloves. And it's actually more damaging for your brain than wearing MMA gloves
well, think about it like this. So I actually talked about this. Yesterday I did an interview on Fox 29 and they said, how'd you get it passed? And I said, man, all I had was my opinion and what I thought was going to happen. But what I did is I would take the regulator over to the brick wall and I would say, punch the wall with your bare fist. And he would literally like touch it. And then I would put a boxing glove on him and say, punch the wall. And he would crack
his
it.
wrist.
You're just you're going to throw it harder with the glove on. You're just, natural instinct is going to make you not throw it as hard with the bare knuckle on, just in fear of breaking your hand.
Well, think about it like when we're sparring. You two guys have headgears on. You're both going to go a little bit harder. Like you take that headgear off, you make your gloves a little bit smaller. Smaller. You're going to start to really pick your shots. And I feel like that's like what I like about BKFC. Like you really have to pick where you're punching because if not, there's consequences. Like you're going to break your fucking hand. So.
Yeah. And think about it. In MMA, the fights are either 15 or 25 minutes.
Yeah.
In boxing, they're 24 minutes, 30 minutes, 36 minutes. In our fight, we have an average of 5.5 minutes. So you're not in there as long to get hit. You're just not in there as long.
Yeah.
That's good. I got two questions too, and I want to go to. I've been looking at the odds on this. Can't bet MMA. Me or Sean. We're looking to see what the betting lines are. Obviously, this is a betting podcast. Where do people go to see the odds? What do you think about the odds and the direction of how any underdog on that card could obviously get a knockout? Sometimes you see guys that are like super heavy favorites, which we've seen, and then they get knocked out in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal sport to bet on because our last show we had 10 fights last Saturday night, and we had eight of our underdogs won. So it's definitely one shot changes everything. I did see the odds. I thought that the Sean and I were looking at them. I thought that the odds were pretty good. 1 or 2 was a little off. I'm not going to call them out who they were, but 1 or 2 was a little off. But you can get them at DraftKings, BetMGM, and here in Philadelphia, and I think Jersey as well, you can get them at Parks.com because Parks is our official betting partner for this event.
I'm going to be on. But I'm on Fight Odds, and they have them all right there. Now,
I got banned on DraftKings.
As far as the betting though, the more shows you guys do you think the odds will just become like you said, they just came out this week? Do you think they'll become more available more shows you guys do? So that's kind of
absolutely with the different partners that we have, we're trying to get them out 4 weeks in advance. We don't want to get them out any further than that, but this one came out just this week just because it was a new partner.
Gotcha.
And he actually sent me the odds to look at them, and I was like, bro, you guys are going to get killed.
Yeah,
so I had to tell him, man.
Had a regular.
I mean, I don't do the odds, but I told him, I said, that one's way off, just to help him out, so they don't get killed. But we're doing a lot of action offshore. We're doing, like 25, 30 million every fight.
Crazy.
In betting offshore.
How do they get to those bigger platforms though? They come to you? Like once you
we're
get
in
big-
talks with all of them right now as far as actually being an official betting partner. It just depends which one we're going to land on. We're actually working on a big international one right now with Conor McGregor as the face of it. It could be called the Notorious Sportsbook. We're not 100% sure, but we're working on something big right now.
Got you.
What was your second question you had?
If and when, I'm all done, are me and Lorenzo Hunt going to run it back for the second time?
I don't know. He's what? How old are you?
I'm 28.
You're 28, he's 40. So by that
40
time,
that's a long
he'll
way
be
off.
44, 45. You know,
That's a
we'll see.
joke. I don't care to fight him again. But
Give the backstory about that.
I do want to say the backstory is when I was fighting for you, I fought Lorenzo Hunt,
Yep.
who has gone on, turned his career around from a 500, like pretty shitty MMA career.
Yep.
But exciting to now being a guy who's 13-2, 14-2, multiple weight champion for you guys, and brings it and is quite the character.
Oh,
So-
you know what? He wants to stand and bang, and that's his game. He's not a grappler. He's not a ground guy. And I always thought about you, honestly. Like, I know you got a successful career in the UFC now, but I said, man, Pyfer has a style for this stuff. Man.
Yeah.
Really has a style for this.
Yeah.
Leading into that, what makes, like, you've been around MMA, you've been around boxing, what makes a good bare knuckle fighter?
I think, first of all, it's just you got to be just a little different. You build a little different. Not minding if you're getting cut. Like getting hit with a sharper object is a fist, right? I guess a Muay Thai guy, something like that, because they're getting hit with knees, they're getting hit with shins, they're getting hit with elbows, they're getting hit with things like that. I think that would resonate really well. But I think it's just someone that has that it, but someone that knows how to knows how to punch properly, but also can pick their shots and be more and more precise. That isn't just it just can't be a fighter like that goes out there and bangs all the time. 'Cause you're gonna break your hand. Right. You're gonna get injured, or you're gonna get caught and you're gonna get knocked out. It's someone that really knows how to pick their shots and can really deliver the sweetest science. I say it's the sweetest science because boxing is the sweet science, but this one you got to be even more careful on where you're throwing your punches so you don't get injured.
Well, like, we were in Texas after my last fight. Well, like when I fought Kelvin and Eddie was fighting Mike Perry, and Eddie was fucking cracking Mike Perry.
Was watching
But second round, and then it's crazy how fast things can just change with one punch or two punches with Eddie's eye, or like a bad cut, and everything can just change very, very.
You would
very
think there's
fast.
a grit that comes to, because even with Mike Perry, it's kind of like
He's
we just saying that, like,
dog.
UFC wise. I mean, he wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He found like a home over there, and then it's like when you saw like the Rockhold fight.
Yeah.
There's a bit of crazy to where it's like, yo, I just got my front grippers knocked the fuck out. I'm done. This is it. Like, there's
Well, because if you look at it on paper, if you look at
Because you're a bitch. You do not quit unless you get put.
I mean,
the
that is
fuck
wild.
out.
This is your adult tooth. There is
you
no.
look at Luke Rockhold and then you look at Mike Perry and their skills. Luke Rockhold is like a specimen.
He had to be a favorite. Was he a favorite that fight?
No, I'm talking about mixed martial
Oh,
arts
yeah.
skills.
Yeah,
But then
he
you
was.
put them into that setting and that shit goes out the window.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how pretty you are. And he cracked Perry a couple times and Mike just fucking walked forward and
He did,
got
man.
that motherfucker
Luke was
out
like
of
this
there.
all night.
Luke was like, he was like, oh no, my tooth is
Shit
gone.
is gone. I'm done.
Speaking of that,
Go ahead.
no, you go.
BKFC's draft of talent. How does it work? If there's somebody you're looking for, unclaimed talent, what is like you guys' process to be able to go and scout?
So at first it started with just getting obviously former UFC guys, former professional boxers, things like that, because that's all we had, right? Everybody goes, you're using used MMA guys and used boxers. I'm like, there ain't no used bare knuckle fighter, so who am I supposed to get, right? So that's who I was getting. Now we're doing these tryouts, we're doing these prospect series, we're kind of building guys through the ranks so we can have our own stars. Because I think that's in about a year and a half, 2 years when we're really done. We're starting to really create some of our own stars. I think that's when everything really changes for us.
If actually now, who would, like right now in the come up, who would there to be looking out for right
There's
now?
a guy, one guy named Kai Stewart.
Okay.
Completely built up through us. So a great collegiate wrestler, but I mean, he just found a way to really win in this. He's one guy. Another guy, Brian Duran from Miami. There's a slew of other guys. And you put me on the spot, so now I can't mention
no.
it.
Is there anybody on this card, like besides the main event, like that everyone should be like kind of paying attention
watching
to?
this fight?
Yeah, I think Dustin Pegg fought in the UFC for a little bit, but he
yep,
came
I
over to
heard
us
of him.
and he looks really, really good
Okay.
with this sport. I think there's a couple guys in the undercard as well. The one guy we were talking about, Pat Sullivan, we're going to see if he really has what it takes, on Saturday night. And
It's littered with, like, you took a lot, like, you came back to Philly, obviously you're from here, and you put a lot of local guys, like Joey DeWaco is a local boxer, Johnny Garb, MMA guy, Zed, we have our teammate Ito. I'm going to be cornering, so I'm going to be I'm cornering Ito, so I'm gonna be right there for it. It's
He's so you.
bro,
And it's weird because he doesn't get excited about anything.
Dude,
The only thing I'm going to tell you
I'm
about
excited.
cornering him is these guys got to start fast.
Start fast.
They
Yes.
gotta start
All right.
fast.
Yeah. Well,
If
then
they-
that's like my only advice. Like, and if I was, it's 2 minutes. Like, you have to be on the fucking and
Go.
that. So normal fights are what 2 or 5 2-minute rounds.
Right.
And then what about championship fights? It's all the same.
5 2-minute rounds. If the fight's a draw, it goes to 6 rounds.
So all across the board, whether you're fighting first fight of the night
You don't need more than that. Some other guys in other organizations are trying to do 7
I got you.
3-minute rounds. You don't need it.
I got
These
you.
guys are getting banged up after
Yeah.
5 rounds.
Yeah.
You don't need to put the punishment on them.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't need to do it.
So Eddie and Jeremy are 5
rounds.
2-minute rounds.
5 2-minute rounds.
Ito's 5 2-minute
5
rounds.
2-minute rounds.
All right.
If you don't mind, I love to geek out. Like, so I was at the Denver show. I did Eddie's fight week that week, and you can agree. I don't know. Was that a pivotal moment for BKFC, that Denver show when Connor was there? So I was there, and I remember talking to y'all when I got back. I was like, yeah, that was like the best week of my life.
Who the fuck invited you there?
Eddie.
I'm just
we-
kidding.
Like, wait, what? Oh no. Yeah, Eddie invited me. Like, I had work. It was like a big moment for me.
And that was Chad Mendez, right?
Chad Mendez
Yeah.
fight. So I covered Eddie that whole week. And I remember seeing you that whole week. And it was funny because I would see you do like an interview or taking some pictures, and then I remember I would always look at your face and it would kind of go back to like, damn it, like what's wrong with him or something like that. And at the end of that event, I was in the back for the media thing, and you were very transparent about how much you risked for that show. You said you put you went to your own pockets. I've heard other things, from people that I know that we both know. They was like, yeah, bro, he put it all on the line. And just to speak on that, we could geek out about that show. Like, how pivotal was that show? And you knew it knocked it out the park.
It was everything. If it failed, it was over.
That's how I remember you
If it failed,
saying that.
BKFC was over. I mortgaged my house, 100% of my house. I put all my life savings up for it. I put in $3 million for that event of my own money that I found. You're all, listen, man, all in or you're all out. Look, my wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is crazy."
I thought about my wife.
I did though, but I'm like, listen, in my marriage, you want me to be all in or all out?
Yeah.
I'm all in or I'm all out.
Yeah.
I'm all in on this thing, and I proved it. I showed it.
You looked
I put
really-
everything up for that one. I don't know if you were there for the pre-fight meeting that I did with the guys,
I was there the whole week.
but yeah, so I did the pre-fight meeting, and every fighter up there came to me, and they're like, "You bet on your house, I'm gonna fight my ass off for you." You know what I mean? You bet on yourself.
Yeah.
But I bet on myself, and I got a great team though too. So they all were with me. A couple guys on my team have worked for me for like 3 or 4 years for nothing, for no money. I gave them a little equity, and now that equity's worth millions of dollars to them. So
Hell yeah.
we turned this thing into something crazy. But again, just bet on ourselves, man. And now we have people that are betting on us.
That's phenomenal. I remember seeing the elevator after that, and you probably don't remember.
Who was the main event? Who was the main event for that?
That
was Eddie and Chad?
Mike,
Eddie, they were the.
Oh no, Mike and
Luke.
Right.
Mike and
Yeah, but that's
shit.
even that's that you people think the story starts like when you first make your first show, but for it to be equitable, like get any money or any I guess prosperous gains.
We're not
from
there
it.
yet. So to be honest with you guys, we're not profitable yet. We project profitability in the third quarter of this year.
You're saying this year, right?
So that's huge for us. It's
Yeah,
huge
but that's
because
what people. It's the uphill battle.
yeah, like the UFC was in the hole about $60 million before they turned a profit 20 years ago. How much is that now? Half $1 billion, really. So we're not anywhere near that, and we're turning the corner. I'm not comparing us to the UFC. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you about like journeys. We're there. We're going to turn the corner. I've got top executives from 4 major networks coming to this fight on Saturday night. This is a major turning point for us. If it's a success, as I think it's going to be, it's really, truly game over for us.
Have you guys tried to partner with UFC or talk to Dana White or I don't know anything about
I had a
that.
few meetings with
Is
Dana,
that
but it's just...
is he like very close-minded to BKFC?
Yeah.
I would imagine he is.
Yeah. But I mean, I also have a picture of him from someone in his house that took a picture while he was watching the Eddie Alvarez fight on TV.
Gotta post it. New meeting.
You guys, that's what I like about what BKFC. You guys aren't the UFC. You're not trying to be the UFC. You guys are your own thing. Like even watching your countdown
you got
show.
the PFL, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming out and they're saying we're a co-leader in MMA. Come on, man.
No,
Like,
you're
what are you
not.
doing, man?
They're terrible.
Like, why not? But I mean,
Bragging about being
forget they're
second.
terrible. But why not just come out and say, I want to be a solid number 2?
Yup.
I'll be the second best MMA company in the world.
I think it
how
would
are
do
you
better.
competing with the UFC? But how are you doing it? You're not.
Yep.
And the guy, so I met with the guy, and he wanted to buy BKFC, Don Davis. He wanted to buy it. And I was telling him about my international growth, and next thing you know, he announces PFL International. And then I'm telling him I launched a $25 million tournament. 2 weeks later, he launches a $20 million tournament. I'm just saying, like, do your own thing, man. Be your own person and do your own thing, and then you can succeed. But the other thing is I've been punched in my face. These guys have not been punched in their face. They don't know what you guys go through. It's death. They don't know when you get cracked and you see fucking white flashes and stars. They don't know what you're going through and you can't get out of bed. They don't get it. I get it. And I think that's why I get along with the fighters so well. And I understand I pay them right.
Yeah, it's relatable.
And not for nothing, I've heard that too. I've heard you, like, I know you guys, like, you look successful, but I know you're still struggling at every point. Like, but I've always heard you guys have taken care of the fighters, and I really admire that, because, like, back in the day, like, we were fighting for you, and I always said to people, I'm like, I've always liked Dave. You've always done well by everyone I knew, and it seems like you're doing the same thing right now.
I've always said the same thing, even though I've gone to Art of War. I said, you've always treated me fairly. You were always good to me. You never locked me up in contracts, anything like that. And
you got to let people grow. I mean, I'm going to lock people up now because I'm paying them big money. So I'm going to lock them up now.
I have another question.
Can I squeeze one before I forget?
Yeah.
The $25 million tournament, is that open weight? Like, give us, like, what?
Kind of. So we're going to
explain that to us.
We're actually going to announce it about the second week of February, the whole structure of it.
Okay.
It's going to be 175 to 275. It's going to be an open weight there. It's not going to be a 175 guy fighting a 275 at first. But when it comes down to the final 8,
It could be.
if there's a 175 guy, I'll fight a 275
Bro, that's going to be
guy.
fucking
That's
sick.
wild. That's awesome, though.
I'm pulling for the 185
And
guy.
I've seen that you already got it approved from the commission and everything, right? Like,
From
you
all
guys-
the commissions.
Hell
That's sick.
They all approved it, and we're hopefully the guy will be there this Saturday on Netflix, and hopefully we get a deal with them for this. It looks like we're going to.
That's awesome.
That'd be
Yeah,
sick.
man.
I definitely, like I said, you guys were just talking about how he treats people, but even when I was there, to get your team a shout out, not just you, but like your dudes, and I know Nick Vespi, one of your photographers, Phil Lambert, all them dudes that was there, like they were like real welcoming, man. They were like everybody there was very, very.
But if you're not, you got to go.
Yeah,
and I did it.
Yeah.
On that show, I pulled one guy off. I sent him back on the fucking plane.
Being
I said,
an
"Get outta
asshole?"
here." I said, you'll never treat. Here's the one thing I said.
You're very welcoming with the cameras.
You
and
will
stuff.
never treat a fighter like a fucking number.
Yeah.
And if you do, you got to go. They're not numbers. They're fucking human beings. I don't care if they're the worst guy on the roster or the best guy on the roster. If you don't treat them like a fucking human being, you got to go. And I sent him home on the plane.
Damn,
Oh, yeah.
They were all
It's
very
the truth. Listen, man, I'm not here like kissing you guys' ass. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
like,
no,
but
for
what are
sure.
you guys going through to win? Right? You're risking your
It's our
life,
whole
man.
life,
Every
yep.
time you get in there, you could die.
Mhm.
And if you're going to treat them like shit, you got to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but see, having that is what's going to make you special, and is already making the company special, because not a lot of guys will say that in your position of CEO, president,
Sure.
like, big dick basically. And to say that and like treat them with the fairness, I think it's going to be, you're always going to have people wanting to step up and fight their hearts out for you. I think that means a lot.
That's
But
great.
where I was going to go, we got to send our man off. If you come back to Philly after this one, Sammy O with one more.
I talked to him. He reached out to me and he said something to me, not even about the fight. And I'm like, bro, are you going to do one more going away present? And he's like, I'm in. So we'll do it.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Are we coming back
Shake
to Philly?
hands.
Listen, I always liked Sammy. Honestly, me
All
and
right, let's
Sammy,
go.
we butted heads once in a while, just on money and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But always a great dude. Always tries to help everybody and do the best he can. I'd love to see him in there.
Are you
once.
coming back to Philly this year?
Yeah. I have a small show already scheduled at
No way.
the 2300.
We
a
have
a high dollar
one
small
more.
show.
We have one more selfish question.
Let's
Go ahead.
Do
send.
we get tickets every time?
He said that. He said, "Fuck
Yeah.
yeah."
You still have the
you're
same
in.
number?
I actually got tickets for you guys now.
Yo,
You still have the same numbers?
Hold on, wait, double back.
Oh, man. All right, shake hands again.
Actually, though, because I'm supposed to be there, but I didn't hear anything about the damn media person. The PR
is
person
you?
wrote me. I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to get a media pass. I haven't heard anything yet.
Text me. You got my number.
Get,
Give
get
my
me
number,
the,
text me.
Yeah, they didn't write it. But they did say they was going to
shut
let
up.
us
Well,
know.
the problem is my one guy actually had a little health problem.
Oh, yeah.
For the past week, so he's been. I
thought it was a girl,
So my
Philly
local
PR girl?
yeah.
Okay, she reached out to me, and I was like, hell yeah, between her and Jamie.
She gave you a pass.
They gave me the first email. I'm waiting for the second email.
All right,
Where
you're
do
good.
I go to get
Okay,
the
cool.
rest of the pass?
All right.
So
Sammy
that was trying to
O.
get
It's the
some
same one.
Sammy O at the 2300 arena.
would be crazy. Right?
That's going to be awesome, though. Like, Wells Fargo's going to be sick, but the 2300
Well,
arena
well,
has a different fucking, because it's so small.
So we're
it's
gonna
so
call
Philly.
we're gonna call it the Underground Series. So
Okay.
what we're gonna do is it's gonna be all standing room. It's gonna be really really cool, man.
that it?
Yep. But it's FELD, man.
The standing room.
That
heard
was,
you weren't that good at-
Sam shared it to me, I swear. Like 10 years ago, bro.
Standing
The
room,
standing room?
that's going to
Yeah,
be.
it's gonna be cool.
That would be sick.
Yeah, look, we want to make Philly our home. We're talking to the mayor's office right now about funding us for somewhat of an apex building out here to really have this our home and really grow the sport out of Philadelphia.
That'd be cool.
I got two questions. One, what is the guidelines for the hands? Like wraps? Like, do you have to have wraps?
Yeah.
Do you have to wrap the wrist? Like, can you wrap
you
the
have
knuck-
to-
So what's the deal?
So you put 2 fingers down
Uh-huh.
on your knuckles, and then from there you start down.
Okay.
You can go 4 inches down onto your wrist.
Okay.
And you can go 2 fingers down, and then you wrap this part. You can wrap right around the lower part of the
Your thumb.
Of the thumb. What was happening is we just wrapped the wrist at the beginning,
Mhm.
okay, and we were breaking hands left and right because it wasn't supporting the metacarpals at all. Right?
Yep.
It was loose. So when we got to at least tighten that up there, it
Everything's-
stopped all the breaks. Like
okay.
literally, we had like 4 breaks every event. Now we have 1 break every
Okay.
event.
Yeah, because I was very curious.
All
about
the
that.
hands swell though. They all swell.
Of course,
and, and they're better in 2 weeks.
And it's crazy because, like I said, I'm sorry, not
No,
to
you're
cut you
good,
off.
you're good.
They say that though. Just between the hands, I remember Eddie face at the fight that I was at, and it was just jacked up. And he was like,
That's a perfect segue.
It's-
I was listening to Eddie on Demetrius Johnson, and he
Yeah.
was like, visually, yes, it looks bad, but cuts heal.
he was like,
quick.
it's cosmetics.
Yeah, but I don't know if you got to wrap up or not, but yeah,
Fine.
like cuts heal fast, and then you can get right back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, second question: talk about Eddie and Jeremy Stephens real quick. Like,
I think it's a war, man. It's a toss-up, man. I just think, though, that Jeremy Stephens is not fighting Eddie Alvarez. He's fighting Eddie Alvarez and 17,000 Philadelphians for the shit he talked about Philadelphia. So he's really fighting a rampant crowd that's going to really be against him. So, I don't know if you've ever fought in anyone's hometown, but if you go to
Yeah,
their
I have.
hometown and you're
Yeah.
fighting their whole crowd, it's not as easy
yeah,
for you.
first time.
But there's also, on the flip side, what kind of pressure's on Eddie with having 17,000 people there
I was just going to
cheering
say
for
that.
him.
Eddie hasn't fought in Philly since the Leocore Center back when he fought in Bellator. I think he fought Roger Huerta.
Yeah.
And now you're coming back to
Mm-hmm.
for every fighter's dream in Philly is to fight at the Wells Fargo Center. So especially at a fighter like Eddie at the end of his career, like for him to call it quits, if he did at Wells Fargo,
amazing,
it's a lot
right?
of pressure. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Eddie.
2 things if you want to close right here, but just one action. In a perfect world, you're doing everything, this whole media thing you got to do going forward. Saturday comes, what's the best outcome of like when you know that a show knocked it out the park?
I mean, it's just fight of the nights. Like I got to decide between 8 fight of the nights. Like that's the best thing that could possibly happen because then every one of those people are coming back to my next event. They're all coming back.
That's the point.
90% of them are coming back.
Yeah.
If they go there and it's a shit show, which we don't have shit shows because we can have 2 bums fight a bare knuckle fight in it, and it's exciting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got 2 well-schooled fighters fighting a bare knuckle fight. It's really exciting to watch. And I think we're gonna walk out of there. We got 13 fights on the card. I think 8 fights are going to be unbelievable wars.
Sean, I think you got something you got to pass off.
And
you could close this off too.
Yeah, I just got some gear for you from
Beautiful,
Fuel
man.
Hunt for my brand.
Awesome,
I just
man.
wanted to give you a little gift,
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it,
you
bro.
got we're opening now, but I want to So you got the press conference tomorrow. Is that open to the public?
Press conference open to the public. We encourage everybody to come 3 p.m. Then we're doing a meet and greet with
That's
Conor
at Parks.
McGregor at 5 from 5 to 7 at Parks.
So that's all Parks tomorrow.
Yeah, all Parks.
Weigh-ins. Do you guys have an open
Xfinity
weigh-in?
Live. Xfinity Live, 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
On Friday night, and then Eddie and myself are going over to the Wells Fargo to ring the bell. I knew you ring the bell, so me and Eddie are going to ring the bell on Friday night.
Nice. That's sick. And then Saturday, what time do the fight start?
Saturday, first doors open at 7, first fight at 8, and it should wrap up around midnight.
Tickets still available?
There's about 500 tickets that remain right now, but they'll go.
Go get
We
them
got
tickets.
Yes, sir.
We had 900 yesterday. We got 500 today, and they're going fast. It's amazing, man. Look, I bet my life on this shit.
Yeah.
I bet my life on this shit, and now I'm going to have the biggest crowd
go.
in Philadelphia. Not in Philadelphia. Mike Tyson fought here. Bernard Hopkins fought here. UFC came here. We're going to sell more tickets than
All of them.
anybody ever sold.
Congratulations
That's
on that,
amazing.
man.
That's
Congratulations.
how you
Let's
close
go.
right there.
I
Dave,
appreciate
thank
it.
you so
Yep.
much, man. Yeah, that was. We're going
Thanks,
to be in the
guys.
building.
Thanks for not
can't
forgetting
wait.
the small guys.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, my man.
Hell yeah.